edition of Wednesday webinar. I am Derwin Begonia, and I'm an implementation and pre-sales consultant for Coastal Range Systems. And today we're going to showcase the new SAP Business One Relationship Map feature. So I'm just going to change my little slide here. Okay, so for today's agenda, we're going to talk about exactly what is the new Relationship Map feature. And then we'll go through a very nice little demo of the Relationship Map feature. And I just want to point out that this is available in SAP Business One version 8.81 PL05 and higher. And then lastly, we'll open up the floor for some Q&A, and we'll have an open discussion, and followed by a summary. So what exactly is the Relationship Map? Well, it's a graphical representation of your document flow. It is a virtual paper trail. It's a fast and convenient way to find related documents as well as the related posting details. And the relationship maps are available for documents in the following modules: sales, purchasing, inventory, banking, production, and service. So what are the benefits of the relationship map feature? You can quickly find and drill into related documents. You can improve the efficiency and your customer satisfaction by accessing their info faster. Never have to search for a misplaced piece of paper again. We can save paper, save trees, and no more filing cabinets either. And overall, we can get a better picture and understanding of your business.
Hey, Jerwin.
Sorry, was there a question there?
Yeah, Jerwin, it's Bonnie. Sorry to interrupt, but did you change your screen slide? I'm still seeing the Webinar Wednesday slide here.
Uh-oh, okay. Let's go back here. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I don't know if everyone else is seeing the same as I am, but there we go. Perfect.
Sorry about that. Okay. And let's just move on to the next slide here. Okay, so just again, the relationship map, it's a graphical representation of your document flow. It's a virtual paper trail, a fast, convenient way to find related documents as well as related postings. The relationship maps are available for sales, purchasing, inventory, banking, production, and service documents. And again, we'll just reiterate what are the benefits of the relationship map. You can quickly find and drill into related documents. You can improve the efficiency and customer satisfaction by accessing their information faster. You'll never have to search for a piece of paper again. And again, we can save trees and filing cabinets and get a better picture and understanding of your customer's business, of your business. Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump right into SAP here. Just go right into SAP here. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay, perfect. So let me just ask you a little question here. Like, how many times have you had to second-guess yourself and ask yourself, hey, did I remember to process that invoice or credit memo? Or perhaps somebody has called in sick and you're covering for them and you need to know exactly where they are with respect to a sales quotation or an order. Or how many times have you had to sift through a ton of paper on someone's desk or through a filing cabinet just to figure out where you are in a paper trail? Well, imagine never having to waste time looking for a piece of paper again. Imagine never having to make a customer wait on the phone while you try to figure out what has become of that order or delivery or credit note. SAP Business One has always given you the tools to search for base documents and corresponding target documents with the use of navigation arrows, historical remarks within documents, and queries and reports. But now SAP Business One has taken it one step further with the new graphical relationship map feature. Okay, so let me just quickly show you what that is. So let's begin with maybe a typical scenario. You know, a customer might call and say, you know what, maybe I'm a new employee and I've been asked to follow up on the status of a quote, and can you Can you possibly tell me what the status is? Have we ordered something against it? Did you send me a credit note against it? Well, let's pull up a particular quote. Let's say I'm talking to a particular customer. I'm going to my find mode. The customer's called Workspace, for example. Okay, so I'm talking to my customer. I say, yep, I can see that there's 2 quotations in the system, and they're saying, well, it's quotation number 256. Can you tell me what the status is of it? Have we ordered anything? Have you shipped anything? And I say, okay, let me take a look. So I pull up that quotation on my screen, and right away I can see the details. But even better, if I right-click on the screen, there's a new feature called Relationship Map. So if I click on there, all of a sudden, I get a nice graphical representation of the entire document flow from start to finish. So this yellow document here, or the yellow header, all that tells me that this is the document where I've clicked on Relationship Map, on the Relationship Map feature. So for example, if I clicked on AR Invoice and done the Relationship Map feature there, this would be a yellow header. Okay? So I can see on the sales side, I can see the document flow. So I can say, okay, you know what, Mr. Customer, I can see that there's a sales order, then there is a delivery, an AR invoice, you've paid part of it, and here's your credit memo. Even further, I can actually double-click or drill into the document and bring up the sales order itself. Okay? And again, I can tell that, you know what, there looks like internally, if I'm looking at it from an internal standpoint, I can see that I've actually created some purchase orders, 2 purchase orders, in fact, to receive some stock. Because it looks like, if I go back into the sales order, I can see that the procurement function was checked off, which means I automatically created some purchase orders based on this sales order. So if I wanted to, I could actually go into the actual purchase order, and I can see, well, one of the 3 items on that sales order was purchased from Acme Associates, and I can see on the second purchase order, another item purchased from LaserCom. If you look at the left side of your screen here, I can see all the relevant business partners that were associated with these transactions. So I can see, okay, here's my customer, C800002, and here are my 2 vendors corresponding to these 2 purchase orders. And again, from here, I can even double-click on the vendor and go directly into the business partner master data. So going back to our document flow, the customer is saying, okay, this rings a bell. Can you tell me exactly, what item was credited? Well, no problem. I can go right into the credit note. I can let them know, you know what? It was item A0002 for $333. And he says, you know what? Thank you so much. Because of the mail strike, perhaps I didn't receive that in the mail. So I say, not a problem, Mr. Customer. Let me just print it out for you. I can mail it to you. I can fax it to you or email it to you directly from SAP Business One. Now going back to the purchase side of things, remember this is a graphical overview of the entire document flow from sales to purchasing. So internally, I can see, well, I'm starting to wonder, well, what's going on over here. I can see that there was a goods return, one of the goods receipts. I can see there's 2 purchase orders. Each purchase order had its own corresponding goods receipt, but this particular goods receipt PO has a return. Why is that? Well, let's double-click on the goods return. I can see, if I make this a little bit bigger, I can see that 1 item was returned. Well, if I look at the corresponding purchase order, I can see, look here, this document, I'm sorry, I might have clicked a little bit faster. I can see that on the goods receipt PO, for example, the vendor overshipped me 2. They gave me 2 instead of 1. Because as you saw, I can even go back here I can see I originally ordered one, but the vendor overshipped me by one, so that's why I have a goods return. Okay, and again, it's not just the entire document flow you see, but it also gives you the actual transaction postings or the related postings. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go into this credit note for the customer, and then let's say I clicked on the relationship map here, and like I said before, depending on which document you right-click on, that will become yellow in the header. But if you look in the drop-down menu here, I have something called posting details. So if I choose that, I can see what the corresponding journal entry was for that particular credit memo and the automatic internal reconciliation associated with it. Okay. In addition, there's a third option called related items. So related items basically tells you what were the items on that particular credit memo that was returned or credited to the customer. So it makes life a lot easier on the phone with the customer, and they want to know what the status was of an order from start to finish. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, depending on what your authorizations are in the company, you know, you will be able to see the entire relationship map. But for example, if I'm a salesperson, I have a CRM license, and I don't have authorization to create invoices, I would not be able to double-click on this invoice and drill into it. Okay? So just to look at the authorizations, for example, if I go into administration, authorization, and let's say Brad, for example. Okay, so I would go into general, and I would go into, it's under drag and relate, I believe. Where was it? Relationship map. Okay, so I can see he's got no authorization. So this is where you would change those authorizations for each person. Okay. Now going back, if I look at this sales quotation, or one of the three items, for example, that was sold to this customer, I can actually see that one of them was a bill of material. If I drill into this bill of material, or the BOM, I can actually right-click on the BOM relationship map, and it will actually tell me the child components related to this particular bill of material. Okay? Nice little feature there as well. So at the end of the day, you have instant access to information related to any document within the sales order purchasing flow. Now, I know it's a really nice feature. It's a pretty quick demo, but I'd like to open up the floor right now for any possibly questions or concerns. So, Bonnie, if you want to unmute everybody, perhaps maybe we can open up the floor. Maybe I can even take you through a specific example if you have any questions.
Yeah, sure. I think everyone should be able to.
I've got a quick question for you.
Sure.
In your relationship with the map, with the flow, where you have, like, for example, sales quote to sales order, to delivery note, to invoice, and then to credit memo, how my company processes, like, for example, when we have price discrepancies, what we'll do is we'll take the invoice,
yep,
and we'll copy to a credit memo,
yep,
and then what we'll have to do is, because our invoices do not allow standalone invoicing without you flagging it, because it actually is supposed to see goods or so on, we'll actually do a standalone invoice after the AR credit memo, but it doesn't associate any other documents. Like, you can't target back and forth because they don't link because they're standalone.
Yep.
But it's really hard for me, like, it's a challenge for me to keep track when a customer is inquiring, like, oh, you know, I paid this price for it on this invoice, and then I see this invoice, and then I see it blacked out that that line's closed, that it's been credited, and I target for it, and I see the credit memo, and I go, okay, great. So I actually credit back you for that amount for that specific item, but it's hard for me to find the replacement invoice after that. This would definitely help if it could link that, but I don't really see a way that, I don't know if SAP has a function or in 8.8 will have a function to automatically link target documents, like forced versus naturally, doing all the copy twos.
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying. Sometimes, for example, you created like you said, a standalone AR invoice that's completely unrelated to a credit memo, and you want to know how to link the two.
Well, in a lot of cases, it is directly related to the credit memo, but you can't copy two from a credit memo back to an invoice, right?
No, you can't.
So I can't link the new invoice that's supposed to, well, the original invoice gets reconciled with a credit memo. For example, this item that you charged $1,326 for was incorrect. You're supposed to charge them $1,000. So, for example, you did a credit memo, you copy forward and credit him back the $1,326, and now you need to rebill him for $1,000. So I'll do a standalone invoice. But if I look back to it 6 months from now, it's really hard for me to keep track. I can find the original invoice. I can see where it's been credited, but it's hard for me to target and find the replacement invoice.
Right, because it's a standalone, right?
Correct, because it doesn't link in this type of chart. I mean, the only other way I normally do it is from the credit memo. I can find the posting date, and then I can do a search in the business partner master data, find all his sales, all his invoices, and match based on the date, and say if he has 4 or 5 invoices that day, I'll just manually have to reconcile and go through them, and then until I find them. But if I didn't do the standalone invoice after the credit memo immediately the same day, say I did it the next day, then it's a little bit harder to find as well.
And that's right, and that's where you'd actually have to go into the business partner master data, reconcile them,
and manually
reconcile the two.
Correct.
You'll never have an automatic linkage between a standalone invoice and, let's say, a standalone credit memo.
Of course.
What you could do, you could put something in the remarks field, for example, saying a lot of customers do this. For example, they'll say related case document or invoice.
We'll do that, but the thing is, we'll start off with the original invoice, which is what the customer usually inquires about, or say the original sales order in this flow chart, right? They'll be, okay, so here's my sales order number for this, and I go, okay, I found your sales order. I need to know what I was charged, so I'll move forward to delivery. I'll move forward again to the invoice, and then I'll move forward again to the credit memo and realize that it was fully credited because something was done incorrectly or for whatever reason. And then from that point, it drops. I don't have a direct relation to the final document.
You're right. You won't. You won't because they're not linked.
That's right. Well, that's my biggest challenge is that not being able to link those standalones.
There are things we can do. I wouldn't say customized, but we could create something through add-ons such as B1UP or through Core Suite to create a linkage, a formatted search. It's basically called a formatted search to call upon that related document. So we can talk about that a little bit offline. It's a little bit off topic, but
actually, I already have a similar function. I just thought it would be something native of SAP to do, because I do have a customized format search for sales order. Because same idea, like from sales order to delivery note.
Right.
Like
the only problem is with that
notes,
formatted search, you're not going to see it visually in the relationship map.
You have to do correct.
Yeah.
As
That's
well
one
as
little caveat.
If
this
the sales
is
order
only going to look at directly linked documents, so anything that's outside of that through a formatted search, unfortunately, will not show up in the graphical view. But yeah, that's a good point.
If the sales order had multiple delivery notes, it's going to post multiple delivery in this relationship map?
Absolutely. Let's do a quick little demo of that. So let's just create a sales order.
Does it post returns as well?
Yeah, multiple returns as well. So
return from the delivery note, right? Okay.
Let's just create a sales order. I'll pull up workspace?
It's a great concept for the relationship map, but it doesn't give me that one thing I really need, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, so let's say, for example, I just want to, maybe I'll even do a partial ship of just one item, for example.
Yeah.
Let me just add this first. Need my delivery date. Okay. Pull in. Okay. Now if I go back to my base document, you'll see one row is grayed out, one's blue. So I can copy this one to a delivery note. The system will automatically put in 80002, the outstanding item. I'll say add. Okay. So let's go back to actually the base document. You'll see that both are closed now. Both rows are closed. I can right-click here, relationship map. You'll see there's two deliveries, 290 and 291, based on one sales order. Okay, again, I can drill into it, create a corresponding invoice for one, and maybe a return for the other. Right? Okay. I'll do a return for this one. Okay, so I'll just close this and I'll go back, right-click relationship map.
Perfect.
Right. I also want to point out this red little bar here. Sometimes these are color-coded. The red bar basically signifies what's outstanding or what's due on this particular invoice. If it was paid in full, I believe that red bar would change to just a blank color.
Would that mean
So
there'd be a red bar?
Background.
Would that mean there'd be a red bar under delivery if the delivery note was open? Is it based on open and closed, or only based on AR and outstanding?
I believe it's on just the AR invoice itself, the AR and AP invoices itself. So let's say, for example, I go in here. Who is this workspace? Let's do a partial shipment, or sorry, a partial payment for this guy. Or let's pretend we're receiving partial payment. Okay, so we'll just close these here. I'm going to go into my banking module, incoming payments, right-click, paste, and it was this guy here, $552. Let's say I do a partial payment, say $300. Control B, a little shortcut here, and let's add that. Okay. We'll drill right back in here, right-click. You can see that it's partially paid here. So, I paid pretty much, what, half of it, or a little bit more than that. So that's why it's half yellow, half red. Okay. And in the incoming payments, again, another area where you can actually do a relationship map as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's a pity that
good questions there.
That from the credit memo, it's a pity that from the credit memo you couldn't do a copy to back to AR invoice, and then back to credit memo, like back and forth from that point, because that would have just targeted and fixed everything.
Let me just make sure I understand your question properly. So here we are.
So if you scroll back to like a document, if you could copy to in the bottom right.
Yeah. To a credit
memo.
Yeah.
And then after you process like a credit memo, you could copy to again back to an AR invoice to correct it, so to link the documents, and that would have solved everything.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, once I copy that to a credit memo, you'll see if I go back to the base document, it's closed. automatically closes it.
But at the AR credit memo, if you could copy back to an AR invoice from there and do your correction, instead
Yeah, I
of
hear you.
alone, that would have linked everything together and would have solved everything like my issue, which
Oh, I see what you're saying.
constantly
Do a
goes on.
standalone credit memo and link that back to an AR invoice. No, unfortunately, you can't do that. Unfortunately, you can't do that. That'd be a nice feature.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead and continue on.
Let's see. Considerations, I talked about authorization. So again, depending on what your authorizations are, you will be able to view the entire relationship map, but you can't actually drill into it. That's pretty much it for the relationship map. Does anyone else have any questions? And again, if you forget a question, you can always send me an email afterwards, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you one-on-one or go through a particular scenario or question that you might have. Okay. Here's my email. So again, in summary, the benefits, you can quickly find and drill into related documents. You can improve the efficiency and customer satisfaction by accessing info faster. Never have to search for a misplaced piece of paper again, and we can save paper and trees. And you just overall get a bigger picture and better understanding of your business. I guess that pretty much concludes today's Wednesday webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to either Bonnie or myself.
Great.
Bonnie, anything to add?
No, that was awesome. That was really, really good. I think that, Jerwin, if we can maybe send this out, just this PowerPoint out to the people that actually came on today, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem. I believe, do you have everyone's email? I can forward it to you, and then you can forward it out to everybody else.
Yeah, that works. That works as well. If there are no other questions, I think we'll wrap it up and call it a day.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank
you.
Okay, bye now.